Tell everybody where you're from, which area you service as a real estate agent, so everybody knows where you work.
Yeah. Yeah, I am in Orlando. I do most of Central Florida, so greater Orlando area. I even go out to Tampa, so that's where I am.
Nice, awesome. So I know before we start working, there are a few things that you're working on by yourself. I'm curious to know what were some of the challenges that you're facing before we started working, especially like on the lead generation side, on the seller side, since that's what you wanted to focus on a lot.
Yeah, so definitely one of my goals for 2021 was to focus more on sellers, become a listing agent. I've been doing buyers for the past 2 years now, and I just did not know how to kind of tap into the market. I do pretty well with like my follow up, and once someone comes into my pipeline, kind of nurturing them, but I just could not figure out how to get sellers into my pipeline. So that's where you guys definitely have helped me. I have had over 100, and gosh, I don't even know how long it's been. It's been like, I feel like a few weeks, but I've got over 100 sellers that have come into my pipeline. And then once I get them in, I'm able to do things like videos, phone calls, give them comp analysis, go out to the home. But just getting them in the door is important.
Yeah, so it's been about 2 months, so around 2 months since
Yeah.
we started. And when we talk about several leads, these are not like easy to get, right? Like this is all like this like so hard to like even get. And the type of information we're getting for you is not just like a name, phone number, and email. We go a little bit beyond like finding out how many bedrooms, bathrooms, street address, like zip code, if they want to sell their property, if they found a qualified buyer, like those type of questions definitely help a lot. But I think the key thing that we focus a lot on is the follow-up side, right? So we have our own follow-up systems that we take care of, but also you take in the additional step, right? So talk about that a little bit. What type of effort do you put in to convert these seller leads, right? Once they come through the door.
Yeah, so one of the things I really appreciated was that the tool that you provide is easily integrates with my own CRM database. So I can get alerts. I get alerts to my phone. I can transfer that information that you capture for the seller. I can automatically put them into my database, and then I can start my own campaign. And then you start a campaign for me as well. So, even if that person's not responding maybe on my end, they'll respond on your end or vice versa. So that part to me was the best the best part. Anything that I don't have to do manually is important. And so then once they come in, I'm able to follow up with them and say, hey, I know you filled this out online, but it actually went to a real person. I'm actually licensed in your area. Some of the people, live near me. So I can say things like, hey, I'm your neighbor, or I also, have children at this school. So that's great. And then I'm able to give them comp analysis. I'm able to follow up with them and say, hey, you said that you might sell your home if I were able to find a buyer for you. Here's some more information about that. All of those things. I give net sheets. I tell them about the average days on market in their area. Maybe I'll send them a couple of homes in the area that sold recently and how much they sold for.
Yeah, so it's a you put in an effort, right? It's not easy, but what the goal initially is just to get them in the door, and then you take care of the follow up. What type of results? Like I know we've gotten leads and stuff. Like everybody can get you leads and stuff, but what type of concrete results you've gotten so far, 2 months into the program? So at least everybody knows where we are. You know.
Yeah, yeah. So I was in this morning and I think I had 102 leads. Out of the 102 leads, I probably had about 56 people who had responded to me positively in the affirmative, not like stop or I don't want this information, but in some way that they had made contact with me. I use a couple of other tools to keep people nurtured so that they receive automated market reports. So in that group, I have like an 80% retention rate of where people I can see that they've opened their market reports, they've scrolled through, they've even updated some of their information that's showing on the market. So for me, that's very, very substantial. And I know that over time, again, it's been 2 months. So I know that over time, when they're ready, I will be the go-to person for them. Or if someone they know is looking, I'll be a good referral for them as well.
Yeah, yeah, that's awesome. What in terms of listing appointments, how many you've gone to so far, and then how many are people you're working with for potential listing appointments in the near future? These are
Yeah.
people you've like talked to and are serious about the process.
Yes. So one thing that the tool allows people to do is that when they're interested, they can actually schedule appointments on their own. So that's great as well. But I have gone out on 3 listing appointments, and 2 of those people have decided that they want to list with me. I have 2 other buyers who are listing in the summertime, and they've said, like, oh, thank you so much for the information. You're the person that we'd like to list our home when we're ready. Obviously, I have to continue to nurture and follow up with those people. And then I was telling you, I had someone this morning who was an agent and said, like, oh my gosh, I loved, this whole process. Would you come out to my home? And when I list my home, which he's listing it himself, obviously, but he's like, would you be our exclusive agent to work with on the buyer side? So, I appreciated that as well. So again, 2 months in, to me, that's a really good return on investment.
Yeah, I mean that's what the realistic expectations that we were setting to, right? Initially, when we jumped on, we're looking at 90-day time frame to
Mhm.
get even a closing or a contract, and so that's perfect time frame. What are we? And the biggest thing I think in your case is that you didn't give up. Like it's just consistency aspect of things, right? So we didn't change the campaigns, we didn't move things around. We
Yeah.
just stuck with it, right? There were times initially when you were not getting the responses, but things were not
Absolutely.
moving forward, and
Yeah.
Pixel just picked up after a while and you
Yeah.
start getting more and more leads every single day. So I
Yeah.
think just the consistency aspect that matters the most, which a lot of agents forget about, like every day doing the same thing consistently day in and day out. It's so easy, it's so basic, but like you don't, that doesn't get, that's what gets you the results, right?
It does.
What would you say, like, how has this impacted your business and what do you say, how do you potentially think it's going to impact your business in 6 months from now?
Yeah, so it's definitely given me some structure because, to your point, doing the same thing every day. So now at least I have at least one comp analysis I have to generate a day. Sometimes it's multiple. I don't do them on the weekends, but then I send like a special note and say, like, hey, it's the weekend. You'll get your comp from me on Monday. So at least Monday through Friday, I know I'm going to be spending designated time putting together comp analysis and following up with the leads that I've gotten through this tool. So it's definitely given me some structure, which is awesome. And I know that in 6 months from now, I will have a full pipeline of not just leads, but also people that will be referrals for other people going forward. So structure is very important in our industry. It's easy to get pulled from here to there. And what we're doing with sellers and what they're looking for from us, by the way that you structured this campaign and this pipeline, what they're looking for is something that I can give them at a time that's convenient for me. So it's giving me structure to be able to say every morning, I'm going to get up and I'm going to run these comp analysis and send it to them in their mailbox. And so that has been helpful.
Nice, nice. That's awesome. I'm curious to know, like all these business stuff is great, but it definitely impacts you personally. How has this impacted you personally? Has this relieved a lot of stress that you had before we started working, where you were like, oh, I have this big goal for the year to become a listing agent, but now I don't really know how to do it. Like I'm sure that definitely caused you some stress, right? So
Oh no, it definitely causes you stress. I think you waste a lot of time with the setup and startup of all these different avenues and ways that you're trying to, find something. So when you know you have something that's working, and then I can just put my energy in disciplining myself and not in searching, wondering, testing out, trying to find different ways of doing things. It has saved me a lot of time and a lot of mental anguish on how am I going to hit this goal when I didn't even know how to, step into the market. And what I really, really, really like, I can't stress enough, there's probably like 5 people who are literally my neighbors that have come through the tool. So it also it's not just an online type of thing. Like it is really in your city, in your neighborhood. It's giving me presence. So people are seeing my face, they're seeing my name, they're getting messages from me, and they know that I'm actually here in Orlando. So I like it.
nice, nice. That's awesome. And then last question, what would you say to like somebody's on the fence to like work with me? There are a lot of companies out there, a lot of
Yes,
companies
there
promise
are.
things, a lot of companies charge a lot of things too,
Yeah.
like the delivery of the results suck, like there's no consistency, there's no like growth in the long-term business. So focus on that. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence to like work with me, you know?
Yeah. So I would definitely say first, this is not the first time that I've invested in trying to find a way to generate leads in my business. So I have been through, if you name it, I probably tried it. Probably you probably paid a lot of money for it. And this definitely has been the most consistent, straightforward, and easiest setup that I've gone through, and the results are actually there if you do the work. And we all know that, in our industry, the most important thing is that follow up. So, Yash is giving us the leads. He's also giving us the tools. He's giving us the follow up. Like, you don't even have to if you don't want to. You don't have to do, all of these things to get amazing leads. Like, you'll actually be getting people's phone numbers, their addresses, whether or not they're interested. They'll tell you what renovations they've done to their home.